What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode 101 of the Kind of Funny Gamescast.
You never thought it would get this far, did you?
Never thought it would get this far. Triple digits.
20 weeks in, IRS would show up, shut down Kind of Funny, but here we are.
You guys can't do that.
They never figured out that Kevin is just funneling all the money.
That's what he does. That's what he does. As always, I'm Tim Gettys, joined by the coolest dudes in video games, Colin Moriarty and Greg Miller. This is a very special episode. The first one of 2017. And the Kind of Funny Game of the Year. Extravaganza.
Game of the year, game of the year.
Yeah, shout out to Malik.
Yeah, what up, Malik?
Doing his thing. Where's he at now? What's he up to?
He's at,
He was at Nerdist.
is he not at Nerdist anymore?
I think he left Nerdist.
No, I didn't know that.
Anyway, whatever.
Malik, wherever you are, we still love you.
We do. We're going to do the same thing that we did last year, which is each one of us is going to give our top 10 games of the year. I'm sure there'll be a fair amount of honorable mentions. And then the last topic will be us discussing what we think the Kind of Funny Game of the Year is.
Okay.
It's going to be a good time. I'm going to start it off.
Do it.
If you didn't know, this is the Kind of Funny Gamescast, brought to you by Steven Insler, our Patreon producer extraordinaire. We love you very, very, very much. This is Kind of Funny Gamescast. We talk about video games, all things we love about them. And this I feel like is a very fitting episode.
Celebration.
Because it's celebrating the year.
Sure.
The year in games, all things we loved about these games. You can get the show on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames early or get it late on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. Remember last 2 episodes ago when we were talking about how I don't have a spiel that I do in the beginning?
Yeah.
I just kind of fucking roll with it.
Yeah.
Didn't even mention Patreon or YouTube in the last episode.
You don't need to. They knew back then.
they just
2 weeks
know.
ago in episode 99, it was a more instant time.
It was a different time.
Yeah.
Different time.
Yeah.
We're recording 2 episodes back to back and they're out.
No, don't tell that. No, people don't know. They don't know that.
No, they won't
even
figure that
fucking
one
know.
out.
They'll just be like, man, they wore the same outfits.
Same clothes. But there is a week gap.
Exactly. No one will remember. You
Who
fucked
knows?
it up.
We didn't record episode 100 yet. Who the hell knows what's going to happen?
What if one
Kevin
of us
might
gets
be a cyborg?
I was
and
gonna say,
come through.
what if we get a scar? What if it gets a scar between now and then? You know what I mean? I got a candidate
who do you
get
think it would
kicked by
be?
a mule.
You think it'd be Colin?
No, Colin's not getting a
You
scar.
ain't got no scar?
He's gonna get a scar in Mexico down there on the beach,
I don't know.
sitting there drinking Mai Tais.
I'm not gonna drink a Mai Tai. I don't think. No.
You're gonna drink one fucking Mai Tai.
Do it for Greg.
All right.
You gonna drink any fun drinks down there?
No,
No.
I'm not gonna have any fun at all. It's a very serious trip.
You're just gonna be like fully clothed on the beach, like I don't want to get skin cancer again.
We're going to start with my top 10
Top 10 Tim
games
Gettys.
of 2016. Before we get into my top 10, though, I want to get my honorable mentions out of the way early.
Okay.
And just like just things, disclaimers that I want to say for my top 10.
Sure.
My top 10, when I go through it, it's going to be in chronological order of when they released. I don't want them ranked. I don't want whatever. Just like here's the games. But before we get into that, I want to give a shout out to Amplitude. It was one of my top 10 game of the years last year, but that's because it was given to early backers in December. But it came out publicly in January. Amplitude, one of my favorite games of all time. You should definitely check that shit out. Deus Ex Go, fucking fantastic game. Love the Go series. Deus Ex took it to the next level. Not a huge fan of the Deus Ex franchise in the same way. Like I think Hitman's cool, and I obviously love Lara Croft. So Deus Ex, I'm like, but like the game, really good. Mechanics are great. So I want to give it a shout out, but definitely not top 10 quality for me. Video Ball.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah, Video
Ball.
Ball.
Fun with Video Ball. Didn't play it enough, so that's why it doesn't get one of the spots. But shout out to you. And then I think that the 2 big ones. Well, Overcooked I think is the other one that I didn't put on my list, but I didn't play it enough and have. I didn't
You're
have
a
the
real
co-op
piece of shit.
experience
You're a
is the
piece of
problem.
shit.
No, I tried. Me and Gia played, but it's like it's a little. We played multiple times. Like there's been a lot.
You live together now. Now you can do it.
I know. She's still learning, so I didn't get to play through enough of the game with a partner for it to like really to make my list. Although I know it's a fucking fantastic game, and every time I played it, I had a blast.
Okay.
But the frustrations outweighed the fun.
Gotcha.
But I was like, if I was playing with one of you guys, then it would have been fantastic.
You'd understand because that's how Colin and I roll.
And then you guys go.
I'm over there making the burgers. He's bringing me the meat. He's plating. He's putting it out there, sending me the dishes. I'm washing the dishes.
You a meat disher? You dishing that meat?
Yeah, I dished the meat. I washed some dishes and cut some onions. And
The thing I love most about that game is the soundtrack. I think it really pulls the whole thing together. It's just so fucking unnecessarily epic, and it's great. But the games that I want to give the mentions to are Fire Emblem, Fates, and Pokemon Sun and Moon. The 2 Nintendo games that you'd expect to make my list. Both of them didn't. This was a way better year in games than I ever gave it credit for until I started making my list of top 10. I'm like, holy shit. The fact that those 2 games didn't make it, it's a good sign because I enjoyed them very much. But neither of them did something for the franchise that really pushed it forward. I already know what a Fire Emblem game is. I already know what a Pokemon game is. And they were fantastic, but they weren't the most fantastic.
Okay.
So let's get right into it. Disclaimers aside. Number 1, Firewatch. This is a game that I feel gets better over time for me.
Really?
Yes. Thinking back on it, I enjoy it more and more and more every time, like as months pass, where I'm like, as I played it, I was like, it's good, not great. Then the more I thought about it, I'm like, it was great, but not perfect. And I think that that's kind of where I fall.
I was going to say now after more time, it's perfect.
No. It still
Like me with
falls.
Mad Max.
It still falls in the great. But I just think that the things that I enjoyed about the game are what I remember more than the things I didn't like.
Okay.
And I think that's what changed. In the moment, the things that I didn't like about it kind of not outweighed, but I thought about them a lot. I gave them a lot of. Just a lot of thought.
You gave him too much weight.
Too much weight. But as it went on, I was just like, no, I liked this game for the characters. I liked this game for the performance. I like this game for the world and for the design of it. The entire, like, the design, not just of the level layout or any of that, or the art style or whatever.
Art style's fantastic.
But the design of the story and the design of the experience that you have. I feel like it did a really good job of playing with your emotions and making you wonder, is this a horror game? Is this this type of game? Like what's going on? And granted, I feel like there's some issues when it comes to the end in a lot of games like that, and movies like that, stories like that have that issue of like having an end that makes you feel good. But as an experience, it gave me emotional. It was an emotional roller coaster, and I think that it's in a good way. And I never felt disappointed with moments. There was moments where I'm like, oh, I feel like I could have liked that more. But overall, shout out to you, Firewatch. Next up, Superhot.
Super hot.
What a damn good concept for a game. If you haven't played it, available on PC and now Xbox One. I played it on PC. Shooting game / kind of, not, I wouldn't say puzzle game, but it kind of is.
You gotta
in the
think.
sense
It's
you need to think about how to get through each level, and each level's designed with a clear way that the designers wanted you to beat it, but you can beat it in other ways as well. It kind of, now thinking about it, reminds me of the Go games, Deus Ex Go and stuff, where it's just kind of like, hey, get from here to here, you have to figure it out, and like there's clear ways that if you do this, you will die.
What's the mechanic?
The mechanic is when you move, things move. When you stop, nothing moves. So you can kind of wait there, see what's going on, move a little bit, the bullets are flying, and you can kind of like matrix around it in a really cool way. I enjoyed it because it was such a short experience. It was about 2 hours, and that's all it needed to be. It was just like, cool. They really used the mechanic in very interesting ways from level 1 to the final level. They varied the gameplay up constantly, kept throwing new challenges and stuff, and it kept feeling like it ramped up in a nice way. And by the end of it, I was like, man, they really used every single thing that mechanic can use, and they didn't push it too far, and it was fun. Art style was great. The fucking super hot. It's like, what the fuck's going on? I like it.
Yeah.
Big fan.
It had style.
It did have style.
Substance too.
Oozed in style. But yeah, I think that's the thing, is a lot of these games coming out, these smaller titles, very stylish. That's the easy part nowadays, having the nice art style and graphic direction, whatever. But to have the substance behind it, I think that's the Firewatch arguably lacked a bit of that, but Superhot. The gameplay was there for sure. Ratchet and Clank, PS4. God damn, what a good game.
Fun.
And holy shit, seeing that run on a PS4 Pro, did you see it at PSX?
Yeah. It's pretty.
That shit's hot. That shit's fucking hot. Ratchet and Clank always been one of my favorite franchises. And I'm a big 3D platformer guy. Love Mario, always. Love Nintendo games, always. But Ratchet and Clank is special because it kind of took the torch that the Crash Bandicoots and Spyros started on the PlayStation, but we were like, no. This is how you do a 3D platformer. And it defined 3D platformers for me on the PS2 generation. And I think that adding that third-person action vibe to it and the guns and all the crazy insanity, it made its own type of genre in the 3D mascot platformer thing. And the guns became
A huge deal.
A huge deal, much more so than even the platforming. Playing this game, though, remake of the original Ratchet & Clank with a bunch of different changes and stuff, it reminded me of a time where I'm like, I loved the gameplay of the guns and all the different gadgets and shit. And yeah, the platforming isn't really the points. I feel like in some of the other Ratchet & Clanks, they got really experimental with some of them focusing way too much on the platforming and the little soap shoes grinding on the rails and stuff. And it was like, nah.
We talking shit on
And then
Crack
there's
in
other
time.
games that went really far down, like Deadlock, whatever it was, where it's like way too just gunplay. This is such a good example of what a Ratchet & Clank can be, and I really hope that there's a proper sequel that's even more of a AAA experience or whatever. I don't even know what that would be, but this game was damn good. Damn freaking good. For $40, it's like that just makes it even better.
Yeah.
Uncharted 4. I think it's an easy answer, but I also think it's a game that could have not made this list based on what I was saying about Pokemon and Fire Emblem. I know what an Uncharted is, but Uncharted 4, man, it did such a good job of tightening up the entire experience of playing through the games and caring about the characters and upping the ante, but also not doing things and going bigger just to go bigger. I feel like a lot of movies have that problem where it's just like, all right, this is just fucking ridiculous, and they're just trying to be more ridiculous. Uncharted, I think 4 did a great job of being more grounded than the other games and really making it about the things that mattered in those games, which is not the mechanics of the gameplay. It is the characters, it is the dynamics they have together, and it is the sense of adventure and the level of improvement that the game had in terms of story elements of why you're going from place A to place B. A lot of the other Uncharted games I felt like constantly are just like, and now we're going here. Why? Who the fuck knows? Uncharted 4, it's like, all right, cool. It makes more sense. It's a more grounded adventure, and I think that it added characters that mattered and characters I cared about, which is a huge accomplishment because you cared about all the other characters so much, and the lack of some characters you cared about so much in this one could have been a huge disappointment, but I don't think it was. I think that the new ones are great and everything felt super good, and the end is just like, thank you. You guys nailed it. You did it fucking right. Overwatch. Goddamn. Overwatch is a game I cannot believe I like as much as I do. That shit's fun. That shit's Super Smash Brothers, but it's online shooter. I love an online shooter. What the hell? Overwatch probably the game I've played most in 2016. I just keep going back to it. It's like every time I have 10 minutes at home, like, you know what, I'll play a match, which ends up being 3 matches. You know, that's one of those, it's one of those one more match games. I feel like they're doing a great, I've never really been able to appreciate Blizzard and their games because I don't care about StarCraft. I don't care about World of Warcraft or whatever. I never got sucked into that stuff. But I'm finally able to appreciate the level of polish they put onto their products in terms of caring about the consumer and caring about the experience they have, not just as a game, but as a platform. And seeing them come out constantly with the new expansions and the Halloween event and the Olympics events and the winter season event stuff. It's like adding stuff that is cosmetic changes that are just stupid fun. But cosmetic changes are stupid fun that matter when you care about the characters. And
When you're invested.
Overwatch has such an amazing cast of characters that came out of thin air. Activision nailed it when it came to the promotion of this game, releasing the animated shorts and stuff. And like, this game looks like a Pixar game and it feels like one. And the cinematics make it really feel like there's this world and there's this lore and stuff that you care about. And the music and all the elements come together in a way that makes me say, wow, I give a fuck about all these characters. I care about like how they all play. And I don't want to just play one character. I want to switch between them and learn a whole bunch of different ones, similar to Smash Brothers. And I'm not good at all. That doesn't fucking matter. I still have a lot of fun, even when I play online and I'm getting my ass kicked. The next round, I'll do fine. And I can play a support character. And like the defined roles you get to play, I feel are easy to understand. It's a game that you can jump into and not need to know all the crazy technical shit of a lot of the other shooters these days. Or it's not as dumbed down as some of the other ones where it is just go and fucking shoot and be a solo player. It's a game about teamwork, and it's a game that I wish that we could all play as a group because it would be fucking fun to have us 4 and Kevin, I guess, or 5 people like playing together. Us 4 being Nick and Kevin. It's super awesome. And I think Overwatch is a game that anybody that gave a chance fucking really fell in love with it. And I think it's going to be the gift that keeps on giving because, again, it is a platform and they've done nothing but treat it with respect so far. So good job, guys. Inside. That shit's good. That shit's good. We did our review discussion a long time ago, and I had nothing but good things to say about the game. I think that it is a masterpiece from animation level. And just in terms of the design of the game and the thought put into making it a unique experience from every single screen. Every single shot that you see in that game doesn't feel like the other ones, but it feels right. The way the camera moves, it's a 2D game, but at some points it really feels like there's a lot of depth. And there's a specific moment in the game with and this isn't really spoilers because it's like whatever, it's not story related, but there's like wind turbines that like, or sound turbines. I don't even know what the hell's happening, but shit's coming at you from a 3D world and it fucking changes shape. There's no other moment in the game like that, but it's fantastic because it feels right. And I think the highest compliment I can give the game is it never feels gimmicky in a way that I think Limbo did at sometimes. I still think Limbo's a better game, but Limbo had some moments where I was just like, all right, you're only doing this because the game looks this way. And it kind of felt cheap. Inside never felt cheap. Inside always felt like if I wasn't proceeding, it's because I was doing something wrong. And it also felt satisfying. It was really good to be able to figure out the puzzle and nothing ever took too long to figure out. So it wasn't just like insanely challenging, but it was good. It was damn good. Pokemon Go. People can give it shit, but as a fucking experience, which these days, that's what games are. Games are not what we thought they used to be. Games can be so many different things now. People can talk about walking simulators or this and that. And like Pokemon Go brought people together. Pokemon Go is a game that me and Kevin got addicted to. And it was fun talking to him. This sheer idea that me, Kevin, and Paula were hanging out one time. And Paula's like, hey, do you guys just want to go get ice cream and then go hang out and go catch Pokemon? It's like, that's fucking awesome. That's why that makes my list. And Pokemon Sun and Moon don't. Like, that's crazy to me. But it's like Pokemon Go did something that no game has ever done. For that alone, I think it deserves a spot on people's lists. Was there gameplay there that's like thrilling? No. But there's a lot of other games that are just movies that you're watching. And you talk about the Telltale games all the time. And it's just like, well, if there's not a game there, what's it matter if it's just story and you're choosing choices and shit? With this, it's like there was hooks. It had that gameplay loop, but it was in real life. And I forgot who I was talking to, but they were joking that it's like, what is real life game of the year then? And it's just like, no, because the graphics are good, but there's no story. But Pokemon Go is fantastic. And they're adding stuff and it's, too far gone. Like there's still hell of people playing. They're still making a shit ton of money off of it, but the zeitgeist of it all, it has died down. But that game was a cultural phenomenon and I think it deserved it. Next up, Until Dawn, Rush of Blood. Man, I love that game. That game to me is the best VR game experience that there is. A lot of other things, it is going back to it, the experience of it all. But I think Until Dawn gave me what I wanted from a gameplay perspective with virtual reality, which is gimmicks. You back in the day, you play arcade games because of the gimmicks. You would pay the premium price to be able to stand on the skateboard and move or box with the weird ass green looking punch out guy, the wireframe thing, but you're actually punching with punching gloves and stuff. It's like those experiences are gimmicks, but it's because it's different that allows it to be fun. And light gun games in the 90s were so cool. And my favorite was this game Carnival, where you're going through a carnival and fighting all these weird ass ghosts and skeletons and shit. And I loved Until Dawn. Then they announced this and I'm like, this is exactly what I want. Not from an Until Dawn sequel, but from an Until Dawn spinoff for sure. Sure, tack on a franchise that we know that we're now turning into a horror universe or whatever. Use the elements we know from that, but really get into it. I feel like it could have been 1 or 2 levels, but they gave us 6 levels that were all different enough, all working within horror tropes. And in the same way that Until Dawn was very much like a 90s horror slasher teen movie, in game form, this reminded me of the 90s arcade light gun action games in 2016. The virtual reality element, man, the scares in that game are awesome. Just playing through it, it feels good. There's some problems where your gun starts going like this sometimes when you're shooting. You're like, why the hell is the calibration off? But that's the VR thing. You know, that's an issue with like the
Gen
PlayStation
1
Move
PlayStation
controllers.
Move, yeah.
But it's like, it's all forgiving. Like all of it, I'm just like, you know what? This game makes me so happy. This is a game that I want to show people. Like Batman Arkham VR, fucking awesome as an experience. And I definitely think that's the game that you show people that have never used PlayStation VR before. But Until Dawn's the game where I'm like, this is a sick ass thing. If you have an hour, play this game. It's cool. Final 2. Final Fantasy 15. Oh man. It was worth the wait. Can't believe it. Cannot believe I can say that it was worth the wait. I was worried about the game so much. You're always saying like, at the very least it'll be good. I wasn't so sure about that. I thought it could have been bad, and it wasn't. It's awesome. I still haven't gotten to the holiday break, so I haven't had time, and now I'm waiting for a PlayStation 4 Pro so I can play it that way. But I am having so much fun with it, and that is the game that I'm like, I want to get back to playing it now. And like just all the side quests and stuff, while usually not for me, this game reminds me of Metal Gear Solid 5, where I just like the game so much that I'm like, cool, I want to do a whole bunch of little shit. And it's like, as much as I want to just keep plowing through the story, I keep getting pulled away for dumbass shit, admittedly. But I'm into it. And the characters, they fucking nailed it. And like, that's to me what Final Fantasy is. And I'm really happy with it so far. And I cannot wait to keep playing it. But it definitely makes my list. And then the last one, Last Guardian. It's inside in 3D, has a ton of issues, but the overall experience is memorable to a point where I'm like, a lot of the other games, like I had a great time with Battlefield 1. The campaign was great, but it was a shooter game, and I know what it is, and it came and gone. Last Guardian really tried to do something different, and it ended up doing a lot of things that were the same. 2 great games though. Shadow, Eco, awesome games. And this game kind of does feel like the next one of that, for better and worse. But I think that overall it's gonna be similar to Firewatch for me, where it has issues, but when I think about it later, I'm gonna remember the good parts of it and not so much remember the bad parts. Like I think next year I'll think about Last Guardian and be like, man, I loved the story elements, I loved the end. And yeah, the controls are a little whatever, and Trico didn't listen correctly. But like that stuff's gonna be the afterthought. I think I'm gonna give a lot less weight to that. But overall, I think it's a fucking solid ass list of games. Like it's so cool that those are just the 10 favorite games I've had, but there's so many other ones that are out there. Shout out to you, 2016. You did good in games, not so much in other things.